This video is to show you how to create a rubric within Schoology. I like to make my rubrics in my resources and then copy them into my courses. So I have opened up my resources and my personal resources. I have a collection for each of my classes, so I'm going to create mine in the chemistry collection, but you could also create it in the home collection. So when you add our resources in your resource page, you can have an option of adding a rubric. So I'm going to click Add Rubric, and that's going to bring this rubric creation table here. I'm going to name my rubric Super Element Project Part 3. I have a rubric that I've used on a Google Doc before, and I'm going to just copy and paste some of the stuff from that rubric into my Schoology rubric. So I do have to name my criteria. So this is grading my story section, and I'm going to add that description here. Now if you notice in this rubric I only have 2 points, and one of them is a 0 point. So I'm going to change my grading scale here. So excellent would be actually 2 points. I'm going to get rid of this good section, so I'm going to hover over this X right here and delete that one. And I'm going to get rid of this one too. And I'm going to change this to 1 as my satisfactory, and then this is going to be 0, and I'm going to say not included. So I can even change the description for each of the grading scales. So there's my first criteria. To add a criteria, you click the plus criteria. Now it's going to copy the grading scale from the previous criteria. So when I hit that, it's going to copy the 210 as my grading scale. I'm going to come over to my rubric and copy this description for the second criteria. And this time, if you notice, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to add those back in. I'm going to get my criteria set up. And for excellent, I want that to be 4 points now, because this criteria is worth a little more. Now to add a grading scale in the middle here, I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I'm going to change that one to 3, and that was good. I need another one for 2, and that was satisfactory, and 1, I'm going to say needs improvement. And you can even put indicators, what you're looking for to get that exact point, or you can use their excellent, satisfactory, different points there. So I'm going to just go ahead and copy this one again. This one's worth 3 points, so I need to make sure I change my grading scale again. So once it's created, the criteria is added. I'm just going to get rid of this 1 point needs improvement. I'm going to change these to 1, 2, and 3. And what's nice is this one is also 3. This is the fourth part of the fourth criteria. So when I add a criteria, it's going to copy that, and I won't have to even change anything. So it's worth a total of 12 points, which would be correct. It adds up all the points for you over here. Now one nice thing with a rubric is you could actually align it to a state standard or Common Core or the new generation science standards. So when you hit learning objective, it's going to you can go in and find your state standards right here. So I'm in for the Nebraska standards. I can go down into all of these different standards that I can look into in science and 912, and I can go in and actually add one of these as my learning standard. So I'm going to go all the way down into this standard, and I'm going to say it's going to take these 3 different standards, these 3 indicators, and I'm going to add those as actual criteria. So now look, my criteria, in my rubric, I have my standards. And this will also, if you have enterprise, you can also use the Mastery Learning and track those standards through Mastery Learning whenever you use this rubric. I am actually not going to use those standards for this part, so I'm going to get rid of those 3, and I'm left with my 12 points again. But that is really handy on some other writing assignments that I have, or different assignments that I like to use the standards to actually evaluate them based on the standard. Instead of them only seeing the standards at the end, they can see that they're being throughout the year evaluated. So I'm going to click Create. It's creating the rubric in this collection, and it's right down here. Now, how do I use it in a class? If I want to assign it to a class, I need to click on the gear to the right, and I need to add it to a course. So I am doing this project in chemistry, so I'm going to find my chemistry class. Here it is. I'm going to click on my chemistry 1, and I'm going to add it to that course. Okay, and the template, the rubric was added. So now when I go to my course and I want to add it to an assignment, I go to my course and I find my assignment. So here's my assignment. It's not published yet. I'm going to open up my assignment. I have it all ready to go, except I need to add this rubric to the grading scale. So I am going to hit on Edit, my gear up here, and edit that assignment. And then right here, instead of using a numeric scale to grade, I'm going to come down and I have all these rubrics that I've added to the class that I can use to grade any assignment. So here's the one I just added, my Part 3 Super Element Project Part 3. And it already shows you can't even change this. It will default to being the 12 points, which was in the rubric. And you can decide to whether or not show the students the rubric or not. I like to show them so they know what they're being graded on. I'm going to go ahead and publish this and add a due date. By 8 o'clock. There we go. I'm going to have them submit an assignment, so I'm going to leave my submissions there. And so I'm going to save my changes, and you'll notice it's going to add the rubric right here once it's uploaded it. So they'll see this rubric and see how they're going to be graded on their project that they're submitting. When you are able to grade, it's really slick. When you hit the grading portion to enter their grade, it's going to pop up this rubric, and all I'm going to have to do is click on how many points they got for each criteria. It'll add up the total points, and that's how you're going to grade it. It's really easy to use when you're actually grading also within Schoology. So I hope this helped learn how to add a rubric to an assignment, and you can see the benefits and the ways that you can use this in your own class.